Structured query language. In this session, we will talk about the functions which are present in MySQL. There are two types of functions in MySQL, single row functions and multiple row functions. Single row functions operate on a single value to return a single value. They return only one result per row. They are further categorized into numeric functions, string functions, date and time functions. Multiple row functions, they operate on a set of rows to return a single value. They are also called aggregate functions. We have already covered these functions in our previous session. You can view on the screen the various types of functions which are available in MySQL. They are broadly classified into two categories, single row functions and multiple row functions. Further, single row functions are categorized into numeric, string, and date and time functions. And the various examples of these type of functions are listed here. Now, to understand the working of these functions, let us consider the table item which has this many number of columns and rows. Numeric functions. Numeric functions perform operations on numeric values and return numeric values. There are three numeric functions which fall in this category. Now let us first talk about the power function. It is represented by power in the brackets x comma y, which means x raised to the power of y. Now to calculate the power of 2 to the power 3, we'll write down the command select power in the brackets 2 comma 3, which means 2 into 2 into 2, that is equal to 8. Now the arguments x and y can have negative values also. So for example, select power 2 comma minus 3 or 2 comma minus 2, it means 1 upon 2 into 2, which is nothing but 1 upon 4 and which is equal to 0.25. Now to calculate the power of minus 2 to the power 2, we will write down the command select power minus 2 comma 2, which means minus 2 into minus 2, which is nothing but 4. This power function can also be applied on any column of the table which contains numeric data. So if we consider the table item, we can write down the command select item number comma par price comma 2 from item. This command displays item number and their corresponding price to the power of 2 in the output. Round function. Round x comma d function is used to round the value of argument d up value of argument x up to d decimal places. If number of decimal points is not specified or is 0, the number rounds to the nearest integer or to 0 decimal places. If negative value is specified for precision, it counts off that value left from the decimal point. If positive value is specified for precision, it counts off that value right from the decimal point. So let us take few examples of this function. Select round minus 4.45. It will give the value as minus 4 because no value is specified for the second argument, that is d. Thus it rounds off to nearest integer, which is nothing but minus 4. Select round minus 4.67 will round off to minus 5 because again no decimal point value is specified after the number, and after decimal the value is more than 5, thus it is rounded off to minus 5. Select round 4.45 will round off to 4 because the number after the decimal point is less than 5. Select round 4.678, 1 will round off this number to 4.7, again because the digit at the second place after the decimal is 7, which is more than 5. Select round 56.345, comma minus 1 will round it off to 60, because this time we will count the value left from the decimal point. Again, this right function can also be applied to any column of the table which contains numeric data. So this can be applied to price column of the table item. Truncate function. Truncate x, d or trunc s, x, d returns the number x truncated to d decimal places. If d is 0, the result has no decimal point or fractional part. If d is negative, it causes d digits left to the decimal point of the value x to become 0. So let us take few examples. Select trunc 5.678, 0 will give the output as 5. It simply truncates and no round off in this case. Select trunc 3.768, 1 will give the result as 3.7. Select truncate minus 9.87, 1 will give the result as minus 9.8. Select truncate 345, minus 2 will give the result as 300. Again, the truncate function can be applied on any column of the table which contains numeric values. See, we have written a command, select item number, truncate price, 1 from item. This command will display item number and truncated price of all the items up to 1 decimal place as a result. String or character functions. String functions operate on character type data. They return either character or numeric values. Let us first understand the working of the very first function, length function. Length bracket str, it gives the length of the string str. So for example, if we write select length and in the brackets computer, and please note that all the string values have to be given in double quotes. The output will be 8 because the length of the word computer is 8. Similarly, for the command select length I am learning, the output will be 13 because the length of the string including in between spaces is 13. Please note that if you are counting the length of the string, the spaces which separate the words are also counted as the length of the string. This function can also be applied to any column of the table which contains character values. For example, we can say select item number, length in the bracket name from item. This command will display item number and length of each name of the table as an output. Concat function. This function is used to join two or more strings. For example, if I say select concat MySQL, class, the result would be MySQL class. Please note that all the string constants which are given as arguments should be enclosed in double quotes, and the output of this command will not leave any space between the two words. So all the words will be joined together as an output. If any of the argument of the concat function is null, the output of that function will be null. For example, if I say select concat MySQL, null, class, the output will be null. Please remember this. This is very important. Now the concat function can be applied to any columns of the table to join their output. For example, select concat item number, comma name from item. The command will be, the output will be the concatenated data of the columns item number and name. INSTR function. This function contains two arguments, a main string and a substring, and gives the position of occurrence, first occurrence of the substring in the main string. For example, if I write select INSTR MySQL, SQL, the result will be 4 because SQL is present in the main string MySQL at position 4. Similarly, if I write select INSTR MySQL, SQR, the result will be 0 because the second substring SQR is not present completely in the first string MySQL. This function can be applied to any column of the table which contains character values. So for example, if I write select INSTR name, bread from item, the result will be 1 where the value of the column name is bread, and at all other places the value will be 0. Lower function. This function takes only one argument and converts that argument to lower case. So for example, if I say select lower informatics, then it will convert this word informatics to lower case. This function can also be applied to any column which contains character values. So, for example, if I say select lower and in the brackets name from M, the output will be the name of all employees from the column name in lower case. Upper function or U case. This function also takes only one argument and it returns this argument in upper case. So for example, if I say select upper informatics, it will convert this word to upper case. This function can be applied to any column of the table which contains character values. So if I say select upper name from item, it will display all the names of the table item in uppercase. Left function. This function contains two arguments, a string and number of characters, and returns that number of characters from the left side of the string. So for example, if I give the command select left and in the brackets MySQL, 2, it will display the output as my because these are the two characters which are present on the leftmost part of the string MySQL. This function can be applied to any column of the table which contains character values. So I can say select left name, 3 from item. The result will be first 3 characters of all the names from the table item. Right function. This function contains two arguments, a string and number of characters, and it returns that many number of characters from the rightmost side of the string. So if I say select right MySQL, 3, it returns SQL, which are the 3 characters present in the rightmost position of the string. This function can also be applied to any column of the table which contains character data. So if I say select right name, 3 from item, the output would be 3 characters from each name of the table item from the rightmost side of the string name. LTrim function. This function contains only one argument which is of type string, and it trims the leading spaces, that is, from the left side of the string. So if my string contains leading spaces and if I write select trim informatics which contains some leading spaces, the output would be informatics without these leading spaces. This function can also be applied to any column of the table which contains character data. rtrim function. Rtrim function also contains only one argument of type string and it removes the trailing spaces, that is spaces from the right side of the string. So if my string contains spaces on the right side and I want to remove it, I can use this function. For example, select write informatics with some trailing spaces, the output would be informatics without these trailing spaces. This function can easily be applied on any column of the table which contains character data. Trim function. This function removes both leading and trailing spaces from the string which is given as an argument. So if my string contains leading and trailing spaces and I want to remove it, I can give the command select trim and in the bracket say Informatics Practices with leading and trailing spaces. The output would be Informatics Practices without these spaces. This function can easily be applied on any column of the table which contains character data. It will display the output as the column with all the values without leading and trailing spaces. Substring, SUBSTR or mid function. This function returns the specified number of characters from the middle of the string. This function contains three arguments. The first argument is the source string. The second argument is the position of the first character to be displayed, and the third argument is the number of characters to be displayed. If the third argument is missing, then all the characters starting from the position specified to the rest of the string are displayed. If the second argument is negative, then it displays the number of characters from the end of the string. Let us consider a few examples of this function. Select SUBSTR, word of computers, 4. In this command, the second argument is missing, so it will display all characters from the fourth position of the string till the end of the string. So the result would be LD of computers. This command can also be written as select SUBSTR, word of computers from 4. Now let us consider the second command. Select SUBSTR, word of computers, 3, 4. This command will display 4 characters from the beginning of the string starting from the third position. So the output would be LD space O. Please remember that while counting the number of characters, spaces are also counted. Now let us consider the third example with negative argument. Select SUBSTR, word of computers, -4. In this case, starting from the fourth position from the right side of the string, all the characters are displayed. So the result will be TERS. Now let us consider the next example. Select SUBSTR, word of computers, -6, 3. This command will first go, in this command we will first go to the sixth position from the right side of the string and will display 3 characters from that position. So if we go from the right side, the sixth position is present at the letter P and we will display 3 letters starting from this letter. So the output will be PUT. The next command is select SUBSTR, word of computers from -4 for 2. This command will first put the position at 4 characters from the right side of the string and display 2 characters from that position. Fourth character from the right side of the string is T and 2 characters from this position onwards are TE. So the output would be TE. This function can also be applied to any column of the table which contains character values. So if we write select SUBSTR name, 2, 3 from item, it will display all the names from the table item from the second position of the name till 3 characters. ASCII function. This function takes only one argument as string argument and returns the ASCII value of the leftmost character of that string. It returns 0 if the string is an empty string and returns null if the string is null. In this case, you must learn 3 ASCII values. The ASCII value of 0 is 48, the ASCII value of capital A is 65, and the ASCII value of small a is 97. So if I write the command select ASCII in the quotes 2, the result will be 50 because the ASCII value of 0 is 48. So the ASCII value of 1 will be 49 and the ASCII value of 2 will be 50. Similarly, if I say select ASCII CG as a string, then it will give the result as 67 because it will return the ASCII value of the character C, which is 67. Similarly, ASCII value of the string R is 97 because here A is in lowercase. Date and time functions. Now let us talk about the various date and time functions which are available in MySQL. The first function is curDate. This function returns the current date in YYY, MM and DD format. That is, it first displays year, then month and then the date. The now function, it returns the current date and time in again the date in YY, DD, MM format and the time in HH, MM and SS format. SysDate function. This function returns the current date and time again in the same format as of now function. Date function. This function extracts the date part of date or date time expression. Month function. This function returns the numeric month from the date passed and it displays the result in the range 0 to 12. So if I write select month 2015-10-14, the result will be 10, which is the month number. Year function. This function returns the year for date passed in the range 0 to 9999. So for example, if I give the command select year 2015-10-14, the result would be 2015, which is the year of this date. Please ensure that the date passed in this function should always be enclosed in single or double quotes. Day name. This function returns the name of the weekday for the date passed. So if I say select day name 2015-10-14, the answer would be Monday because on this particular date the day was Monday. Day of month. This function returns the day of the month in the range 0 to 31. So if I say select day of month 2015-10-14, the result would be 14, which is the day of this date. Day of week. It returns the day of week in number as 1 for Sunday, 2 for Monday, 3 for Tuesday, and so on. So if we give any date in this function, it will return any number from 1 till 7. Day of year. This function returns the day of the year for the given date in the numeric format in the range 1 to 366. So if I give any date in this function, it will return me the particular day of that year. All these functions can also be applied to any column of the table which is of type date. Let us now understand the difference between the functions sysdate and now. Both these functions give the same type of output, but there is a slight difference between the two. The sysdate function returns the time at which the function executes, while the now function returns a constant time that indicates the time at which the statement began to execute.